What's up, everybody, and welcome back to We Watch Women's Wrestling. I'm Damian, and in today's video, we are going to be discussing all things Mae Young Classic. So keep watching.
Fabulous. Fabulous, yes. Diamonds on my neck. Yes, I'm fabulous. They keep hating on me, I don't stress. Don't got time for this, cause I'm fabulous. Capiche?
Fabulous, yes. Diamonds on my neck. Cause bitch is fabulous. Capiche? Alrighty, guys, so I am riding solo today. My partner in crime is not here. There's been some unfortunate news. She was in an accident in bed. Bath and Beyond. She was buying hand towels and whew, it was a mess. Anyways, let's jump in today's video. So we are going to be talking about the Mae Young Classic. And if you are not familiar with the Mae Young Classic, this is a all-women's tournament hosted by World Wrestling Entertainment, WWE, and it is historic. It is in dedication and pays tribute to the late, great Mae Young, who was a wrestler for many, many decades. Rest in peace, Mae Young. And she also had some notorious storylines with WWE back in the Attitude Era. Check them out if you have a chance.
Mae, do you have anything to say to them?
What do you mean, do I have anything to say? I want you to give me a match with these sluts.
So let's just jump right into this. We have 32 women from, I believe, 16 different countries. And yeah, it's just amazing to see that WWE is finally, putting their women in the forefront. The fans, like myself, I only watch the women, so I mean, no hate, no shade, no tea, but yeah, the women's wrestling is where it's at right now. If you haven't checked out our video, me and Bree, we did a video, us watching the Parade of Champions. Basically, it's a way for all the girls to come out, say their name, where they're from, basically just like to get to know who's going to be in the competition or the tournament. And check that video out if you haven't already. I will link it down below. It's pretty funny because me and Brianna barely knew like any of the ladies at all, and it's just like super exciting to see like all these different types of women with all different types of backgrounds from all different types of countries. Like, it's crazy. And I want to say before I start is that I love this tournament so much, and a lot of the tournaments that WWE do on the WWE network, because there's like this real sport feel about it. You know what I mean? Raw and SmackDown can definitely feel like a soap opera, like straight up when you're watching it. But these tournaments they're having, like the Mae Young Classic, definitely has like this real sport like vibe about it. And usually that would bore me because I hate real sports, but it doesn't. I love it. I'm so into it. Before we get started in the matches, I really would love to know and sound off in the comments, how do they pick the winners to these matches? Okay, we all know wrestling's predetermined, it's staged, it's planned, but like, who is deciding who wins these matches and ultimately the tournament itself? And also how? You know what I mean? Like, it's something to think about, food for thought. Like, how is it the women have traveled more countries, won more titles, they have a bigger resume? It's just odd to me. Like, and it's always interested me about wrestling is how they choose the winner. Like, who goes over, who doesn't, like, and especially in a tournament like this where all these ladies are, fresh faces to, most of the universe. And it's just weird. Like, does Triple H do it? Like, who does it? It's just odd. Something to think about. I don't know. So I always think about that when I'm watching these tournaments. Like, how the hell they figure this out? But anyways, so this is the Mae Young Classic sophomore year. So far, we've had 8 matches in the first round. So let's go ahead and get started. We had our first 4 matches in the first round, and they did not disappoint. These ladies came out to show out, and they definitely did. So in our first match, we had Zatara take on Tegan Nox. Now, Tegan is apparently a big name in the indie scene. She's from Wales. She's veered as one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. I knew nothing about her, or neither is Zatara. Their match was really solid. I do enjoy like seeing what music they pick for each of these girls. Tegan came out to like this Warped Tour bop. I was kind of like, okay. This match was interesting because like they did like a little dance. They danced the dance of life in the beginning. They just kept like grappling and dancing, and it was kind of comical, but it was also like pretty fluid and kind of cool to watch. And something about Tegan Nox is that when I was watching her, I felt as though I could not hear her move in the ring. She like slipped around the ring like Peter Pan. Like she was quiet. It was very odd. I don't know if anybody else felt like that, but I definitely did. We got a little 619 action in this match, which I was like, uh-oh. I don't think she connected it, but she was like going for Rey Mysterio 619, and I was gagged. I was like, what? Quick match. Tegan Nox won with like this Tekken kick. It was pretty funny. Our next match, we had Rhea Ripley take on MJ Jenkins. Now, we're all familiar with MJ Jenkins because she apparently had a little Twitter beef with Naomi a while back, you know, claiming gimmick infringement and like what? So going into this match, you know, I had a little beef with MJ Jenkins. I wasn't going to expect to like her, you know what I'm saying? So that did not happen. I actually really enjoyed MJ Jenkins. She had like this whole like sassy Vegas showgirl kind of gimmick vibe about her, and she really like kind of showed out in the ring. I was expecting like to be like, yeah, whatever, I don't like her because she wanted to diss my girl Naomi. It's interesting to see Rhea Ripley back in this tournament because she lost last year to Dakota Kai, which they reminded us of that, and I was kind of like, Dakota Kai beat Rhea Ripley? Interesting. But Rhea Ripley gives me all of like the bad bitch vibes, like the wet hair, like the leather. I'm for it. I gotta give it to the commentary team. We have Beth, Renee, and Michael Cole. They were saying some like funny one-liners. Like Renee's just funny because she keeps it real. She's like, ooh, I love that booty shake from MJ Jenkins. I'm like, yes, girl, we all love a booty shake. And then Beth Phoenix said that Rhea Ripley treats the ring like a mosh pit. I'm like, okay, Beth. It's interesting to note that Rhea Ripley is a huge Miz fan. They said she has a cardboard cutout of the Miz in her house, and I'm like, okay, can we get like a Rhea Ripley Maurice feud? Ooh, she would absolutely destroy Maurice, but it'd be interesting to watch. So, you know, this match was really good, back and forth, but Rhea Ripley really did beat that ass. And Afrolicious went down. So hopefully we'll see more of MJ Jenkins in WWE programming because, like I said, I was expecting to go in and really not like her. And actually, I came out really liking her. She's actually kind of the bomb. So Rhea Ripley wins, MJ Jenkins loses, and we move on to the third match of the night. Okay, up next, we have probably one of my favorite matches from the first episode. We had Vanessa the Mountain Craven take on Lacy Lane. This was straight up like, this was definitely like an oh shit match because we have Vanessa Craven who stands super tall. I mean, way over 6 foot tall. And then we have Lacy Lane, a very petite, high flyer type of wrestler. I'm completely in love with Vanessa. Like, she is so authentic. I don't know. She has like this sweetness about her, yet she's like this larger than life Amazon. Like, I just love that contrast, really. And it's also really cool to note that Lacy Lane was inspired by the Dudley Boys. You know, we hear a lot about how a lot of the female wrestlers are inspired by other female wrestlers, but to be inspired by the Dudley Boys, like when they said that, I was like, oh, this girl is gonna be coming out with some arsenal moves. Like, you know, the Dudley Boys, they were crazy in the ring. And Lacy Lane was 2012 NAACP Woman of the Year nominee. Claps, we watch women work. So this match was so fun to watch. There was an actual spot where Lacy Lane did this insane like bounce on the ropes. She botched it slightly, but it didn't even matter. Like, she did it and then botched it, but it didn't even seem like she botched it. Like, she covered it up so well that it was phenomenal. Like, hello, phenomenal. Yeah, this match had to be one of my favorite of the night. Like, very back and forth. If you definitely don't want to watch the whole tournament, which I don't get why you wouldn't because it's women's wrestling and that's what we're here for, definitely go back and watch this match between Vanessa Craven and Lacy Lane. It was probably one of like the highlights of the first episode. I'm in love with both these girls. I can't wait to see what they both do. In a shocking end, we had Lacy Lane go over Vanessa Craven, which I was kind of like, ooh, wow, really? Like, you know, the smaller girls beating like the larger girl. We've seen that before in the Median Classic. It definitely was a surprise to me. And I really do hope they sign Vanessa Craven or do something with Vanessa Craven. She is so unique and, you know, definitely unconventional. And I love her pigtails and her long tongue. So our final match of the night was, again, one of my favorites. We had Meiko Satomura take on Killer Kelly. Now, before I even talk about this match, we got to know the girls before the match, and I thought it was astounding that Meiko was on WCW over 20 years ago when she was 16 years old. I questioned, like, I want to go back on the network and watch her WCW match, because I watched WCW back then. I mean, it was 20 years ago. It was like, what, 6? But I don't remember women ever really wrestling like that we watch women's wrestling on WCW. It's just kind of interesting to see they had like these two girls back then wrestle like that. I was like, what? Like, that's just so, I just thought that was so cool. And then Killer Kelly. See, with Killer Kelly, when I saw her like in the Parade of Champions, I'm not gonna lie to you. I wasn't really expecting much. I was like, oh, she's kind of cool. Like, you know, I don't know. She was not like memorable, but this match was so good, so rough, like so hard hitting. Like, these two girls put on one hell of a match, and I see why they put them as like the main event of the first episode, like the 4th match, because it was awesome. Like, there's no words. Like, this match, I was like fully into it the whole time. Meiko is definitely like a grappler, as to where, you know, Killer Kelly is definitely like, you know, a striker, and they meshed really, really well, and like the reversals and just the way they flowed was completely amazing. Like, again, if you're not gonna watch the entire tournament, this is definitely a match you want to check out, because like I said, you had someone who's been in the game for over 20 years wrestling, someone who wrestled for WCW, and now she's finally making a mainstream name for herself in WWE. It's beautiful to see. And then we have someone like Killer Kelly, who probably is slept on, I mean, from, you know, non-watchers of her indie work or whatever, and I was impressed with both ladies. And we saw in the end Meiko go over on Killer Kelly. I'm glad they did that. I feel like Meiko deserves it more than Killer Kelly. But at the same time, I think Killer Kelly most definitely has a long and successful career ahead of her. And fun fact, one of her favorite wrestlers and why she wrestles is Cade. And you see that totally in her entire package, her entire gimmick. Like, it's right there. To recap, we had Tegan Nox go over on Zatara. But we do know that, unfortunately, spoiler alert, Tegan Nox is injured later on in the competition. It'll be interesting to see how that works out. It's also interesting to see, maybe she was one of the ones to get into the finals, but now she's unfortunately injured, even after, you know, rehabbing an old injury. It just seems like bad luck surrounds her. We had Rhea Ripley go over on MJ Jenkins. Match was really good. I was very surprised by MJ Jenkins and her performance. Of course, Rhea Ripley is awesome. We saw her last year in the tournament. Match number 3, we had Vanessa the Mountain Craven, probably my personal favorite so far out of this competition, lose to Lacy Lane, who, another one I was just so impressed with. Her look, her style, her just overall package, it was amazing. And then we had, lastly, Meiko Satomura go over on Killer Kelly. Again, this match was really interesting, really cool to watch, and just, I love that they let her go over on Killer Kelly, because, like I said, you know, Meiko's been in the game for 20 plus years, and it's amazing to see her finally get some recognition she deserves. So guys, that was part 1 of the Mae Young Classic Tournament and me reviewing it. Like I said, if you're not watching this competition, then like, what are you even doing? Like, seriously, what are you even doing? Because this is like authentic women's wrestling. Like, this is what I'm here for. And I'm telling you, these 4 matches were all very good. Match of the night, it definitely has to go to Killer Kelly and Meiko Satomura, because they meshed so well. They had a hard-hitting match. It was so intriguing to watch. And with Meiko and her past, it was just great. Well, thank you guys for watching this part 1. Be sure to head on over and watch part 2, where I discuss the next 4 matches in the first round. And also be sure to subscribe to our channel. We have so much content coming. We have a bunch of Evolution things coming. We are going to be at Evolution, me and Bree. We're definitely gonna be doing more weekly review videos for you guys. And thank you all for watching. Be sure to follow our Instagram at We Watch Women's Wrestling. And like always, we don't just watch wrestling, we watch women's wrestling. See you in the next one, guys.